Great Week featuring the United Kingdom took place in three major cities of Vietnam, namely Hanoi, Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City, from September the 28th to October the 4th. A series of cheerful events were held, including seminars, fashion shows, dance, and film screenings. The center of the activities was creative industries such as marketing, advertisement, fashion, architecture, and cinematography. The British Embassy in Vietnam said the week provided opportunities for British companies to share experience and to set up partnerships with Vietnamese firms. The concept of creative industries appeared at the end of the 20th century. The industries are defined as those which rely on knowledge and creativity of individuals, protected by intellectual property rights. The United Kingdom is one of the world's leaders in creative industries, which now make up nearly 9% of the country's GDP. Hello and welcome to Sharing Vietnam. The United Kingdom has just organized a week full of activities to mark the 40th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the United Kingdom and Vietnam, and most of the activities in the week were related to creative industries, which are considered a strength of the United Kingdom and a promising direction for Vietnam's development. So now, today we will have a conversation with the ambassador of the United Kingdom to Vietnam, His Excellency Dr. Anthony Stokes. He will share with us his ideas about creative industries cooperation between the two countries. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us today. First of all, what can you say about the role of creative industries in the global development today?
It's quite a big chunk of British economic output now, something like 8 or 9%, which is not insignificant, and it's also growing very fast, actually faster than a lot faster than the rest of the economy. It's, I'm talking about the last 10 or 15 years. So in a sense, it is the future. It is becoming a bigger part of our economic value, maybe particularly in Britain, because we have a reputation of being very creative, and Britain is behind a lot of the world's inventions, and we have some strong sectors within the creative economy. But I think for the world as well, and for Vietnam, I think it's a big area of opportunity, because at the moment, creative industries in Vietnam is only a very small part of Vietnam's economy.
And Mr. Ambassadors, could you cite some major products of the United Kingdom's creative industries that are popular to people around the world, particularly in Vietnam?
Football. And if you think of that as basically an idea, and the economic, you look at the Premier League now, it's another great example of, actually many of the Premier League football teams are owned by a Russian, or managed by a Frenchman. Many of the players are from all around the world. So in a sense, it's a British idea, and very much an internationalization of a British idea, which has been hugely successful in bringing money in.
So what do you think are the key elements of the success recipe of the United Kingdom?
One of those is the regulation is right. It's not easy to do, but if you want to let the creativity blossom, then you need to have a basic framework which supports it and doesn't get in the way. For example, intellectual property rights protection, which means that if you invest in an idea and you're researching something, you know that you're not going to be exploited because your idea is protected. I would say another one is education, and that's also been a big theme of Great Week. And if your education system can foster creativity, then that can make a huge difference. Again, not easy. And then I would say one other, ideas often spark from contact and cooperation between different people and different cultures. If you can let that process happen, you can catalyse that, I think that's important. So being open again is a big challenge, I think, particularly for, we might come on to this, but particularly for a country like Vietnam that in the past has had to protect itself from foreign influence. So that if Vietnam wanted to go down that route, that would be a different sort of mindset.
Vietnam is only at the beginning of the development of professional creative industries. Following developed nations, many countries in Southeast Asia, such as Thailand and Indonesia, have set up government agencies dedicated to creative industries. But the same move has not been taken by Vietnam. Major obstacles against creative industries in Vietnam now include limited social awareness of the concept, ineffective intellectual property protection, and an uncreative education system. As a result, between 2006 and 2010, Vietnam registered only 5 patents in the United States. In a sharp contrast, the small island of Singapore registered 647 patents in the same country in 2011 alone.
Một số cái ngành kinh tế mà chúng ta lựa chọn làm mũi nhọn trước đây, thực ra thì nó không phải là thế mạnh của người Việt Nam. Nhưng trong khi đó thì cái khả năng sáng tạo của người Việt Nam thì không thua kém với các quốc gia khác. Thậm chí là so với cả một số quốc gia trong khu vực thì cái sự sáng tạo của chúng ta được đánh giá cao hơn rất là nhiều. Nhưng mà chúng ta lại không biến nó thành là cái cơ hội và cái giá trị kinh tế được, bởi vì là nó có rất nhiều cái rào cản và có nhiều cái khó khăn trước mắt. Chính phủ chẳng hạn thì cần phải mình xây dựng một cái môi trường để cho những người sáng tạo đấy họ cảm thấy là có thể yên tâm. Tôi lấy ví dụ về mặt luật pháp. Khi chúng tôi đang nghĩ đến việc làm thế nào để thật sự cái sàn giao dịch ý tưởng nó trở thành hiện thực, chứ không phải là người ta hiện tại cũng đã từng áp dụng nhưng lại không thành công, là bởi vì vấn đề là cái giá trị của cái chất xám nó được bảo vệ như thế nào. Thì tôi nghĩ rằng cái chiến lược đầu tiên nó sẽ liên quan đến vấn đề về sở hữu trí tuệ.
To improve the situation, Vietnamese businesses have proactively come together, discussed with the government, and cooperated with international partners. In particular, the United Kingdom has been supporting the development of the Creative Entrepreneurs Network in Ho Chi Minh City and the Vietnam Creative Entrepreneurs Club in Hanoi. Many UK's organizations have been connecting Vietnamese enterprises, enhancing capacity, and funding creative competitions. At the end of this month, Vietnamese companies will work with the administration of Hanoi and British Council to organize an international creative conference to map out a strategy for creative industries in Hanoi and Vietnam as a whole. As far as I know, the United Kingdom and Vietnam have executed quite a number of projects to push creative industries here. So what can you say about the main pillars of those projects?
Many different projects. It's growing all the time as well. For example, the British Council runs, it now promotes art, actual fine art, if you like, through something called the British Council Arts Fund, and it uses a little bit of funding to sponsor bright young Vietnamese artists, give them the opportunity to work with British artists or to visit the UK. I'm thinking of that because the camera may not be able to see it, but behind your head is a great example of a British Council art-funded artist. We also do broader cooperation on creative industries. The British Council worked with the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism on looking at the whole creative industries sector and identifying where the strengths and opportunities were, so that resources could be effectively focused. And in many other areas we work. So it's a really exciting area for the bilateral relationships.
And Mr. Ambassador, are you aware of any major product of the creative industries of Vietnam recently?
First of all, when Lord Putnam was here, he presented an award for the winner of this year's Young Creative Entrepreneurs the prize, which has been running for a couple of years. And the winner was a guy called Nyatling Pham-Za. He created, or he was co-creator of that online short film festival, which has been a huge success creatively, and I think in terms of commercial opportunity as well. I think he's a great example because he's married creative spirit with entrepreneurial spirit, and made it happen. So that's one example.
As you may know, Vietnam is restructuring its economy. So what kind of role can creative industries play in the restructuring process?
We have that's been Britain's experience. We have a long history, possibly as long as Vietnam's, depending on what you count. But we have a long history, so there's always a risk that you can be quite conservative. And Britain has had a reputation in the past of being quite conservative, right? Quite traditional. But so some people might view creative change as risky in Britain. But we have found that it's been the opposite. It's helped us to be more stable and more successful. The problems or the challenge of economic restructuring which the Vietnamese government faces is a very important challenge. And I think if the Vietnamese government can overcome that challenge, can meet that challenge, I think that will unlock all this potential I see. If it's too difficult, then the potential will get blocked. That's starting to happen a bit at the moment. I think creative industries can be a big part of Vietnam's future if you get it right.
So given the progress that Vietnam is making, what can you say about the prospect of creative industries in Vietnam in the coming years?
Well, in brief, fantastic future. You say Vietnam should develop in those areas. Well, I want to emphasize, if that's the way you want to go. There are other ways of developing. That's the way I believe that will be most promising. If Vietnam wants to go down this route of fostering creative industries and opening up, and isn't worried about the risk, but believes that it's comfortable to take a step forward, yes, into a new unknown world, but we're all moving into a new world, whatever we do. If Vietnam can take that confident step, I think Vietnam's future will be impressive.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us today, and I wish you further success in fostering creative industries and other cooperation between the two countries in the future.
I hope so too. Thank you and good luck.
That's all for our Sharing Vietnam today. We will close the program with some impressive pictures of creativity. Thank you very much for watching and see you again.